Riot police called in to try and control crowds who gathered at a Southport mosque. Officers pelted with bricks and bins, vehicles set on fire. Following the stabbing attacks that claimed 3 lives.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And those extraordinary scenes are from a holiday town in the north of England, where hundreds of people went on a rampage last Tuesday, torching cars and garbage bins and pelting police with bricks and bottles. Revved up by right-wing thugs, the rioters began by laying siege to Southport Mosque and demanding an end to immigration. And when police arrived, the mob turned on them. So, why the red-hot anger? 24 hours earlier, 3 young girls in a Taylor Swift dance class in Southport had been stabbed to death and another 8 injured in a horrific knife attack. And the rioters were convinced the young attacker was a Muslim. So, what made them so sure? Answer: social media, with disinformation expert Mark Owen-Jones analysing the mass of traffic on X and reporting:
there were at least 27 million impressions for posts stating or speculating that the attacker was Muslim, a migrant, refugee or foreigner.
One of the key vectors in this viral spread was the notorious Andrew Tate, still awaiting trial on rape and human trafficking charges in Romania, who told his 10 million followers on X,
"An illegal migrant arrived on a boat 1 month ago. Then he decided to stab children."
With Tate then posting this picture and claiming falsely,
"This is the man from Cardiff that murdered little girls. Straight off a boat. 17-year-old demonic monster."
The attacker was indeed from Cardiff and black, but he was not that man. And not straight off the boat because he was born in Britain to Rwandan parents 17 years ago, as police soon confirmed. Tate's false claim was then picked up and amplified by Dan Wootton and Lawrence Fox, 2 right-wing warriors recently sacked from GB News, with Fox suggesting the attacker was on a terror watch list.
Why is he in this country if he's on an MI5 watch list, MI6 watch list? Why is he in the country?
There's no evidence he was on a terror watch list, and police do not believe that terror was the motive. But Fox, who leads Britain's right-wing Reclaim party, was not put off by the lack of facts.
I knew immediately, and we all knew immediately, the minute they say a man and we never get a description of anyone, we all knew what was going on. And I am sick to death of people not putting this front and centre of what is wrong with this country. Every single time you ask people in this country, what is your main concern, is uncontrolled immigration. Shut the border. Close it.
And Fox then followed up by tweeting to his 530,000 followers on X,
"We need to permanently remove Islam from Great Britain, completely and entirely."
Thus echoing another popular right-wing account, Europe Invasion, which had told its followers as news of the stabbings broke in a post viewed 7 million times,
"The attacker is alleged to be a Muslim immigrant."
Then immediately adding this AI-generated image with the tagline,
"We must protect our children."
And was he a Muslim? No, he was not. Neighbours say the attacker comes from a quiet Christian family. But that didn't stop Tommy Robinson, founder of the English Defence League and a hero to the rioters, saying, "I told you so," telling his 800,000 followers,
"Nobody can say they weren't warned. I've been warning about this for years."
Meanwhile, others on social media were naming the attacker, even though police had not, as Ali al-Shakati. And was there any truth in that? None at all. In court on Thursday, his actual name was revealed to be Axel Rudakubana, with the prosecution revealing he has an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis and has been unwilling to leave the house or communicate with family for a period of time. This is him as a schoolboy some years ago. So how did the false Arabic name, Ali al-Shakati, get out there? It appears the original source was a well-known climate denier and anti-COVID lockdown campaigner. But the lie was then spread by an obscure news site called Channel 3 Now News, which claims to be in the US, but offers no street address, no phone number, and has no bylines on its articles. And as journalist Catherine Denkinson told Times Radio,
so the next step is their YouTube channel. If you start searching by oldest posts first, you find that 12 years ago, they were posting very, very amateurish videos of a couple of young Russian lads bezzing around fields in cars.
Which suggests it may be a Russian site, although Denkinson and other experts believe it's actually more likely to have been set up for clicks than used for propaganda.
They are literally jumping on the back of a bandwagon to get people to click on their website by stoking racial tension.
And thus make money out of all the ads they sell. And if stoking racial tension was the aim, it certainly succeeded, because anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant riots have now spread to a dozen towns and cities in Britain, with a violent mob smashing into a Holiday Inn in Rotherham, which houses asylum seekers, and setting fire to another in Tamworth, and prompting the inevitable backlash from those under attack. So, what is the owner of X, Elon Musk, doing about all these people on his site, fomenting violence by spreading lies and racial hatred? Answer: nothing, apart from helping them to do it. When Musk took over Twitter in 2022, one of his first acts was to reinstate Andrew Tate's account, since when he has acquired more than 9 million new followers. Right-wing rabble-rouser Tommy Robinson has also been welcomed back into the fold. And last night, Musk responded to a claim that mass immigration and open borders caused the riots by tweeting,
Civil war is inevitable.
But it's not just social media which is to blame for spreading division. The UK tabloids have long been whipping up anger against immigrants, asylum seekers and Muslims in particular, by pumping out headlines like this for years, fanning fear, breeding hate and now leading to violence. And perhaps there are lessons here for the media in Australia to be more cautious. In Melbourne 2 weeks ago, for example, the Herald Sun was trumpeting this provocative headline.
Declaration of war.
Hamas flag flies at pro-Palestine rally in Melbourne.
The Hun's story, which was also posted on Facebook and Twitter, claimed the Hamas flag had been
Openly flaunted at a pro-Palestine rally in Melbourne, sparking fears over a frightening rise in anti-Semitism.
That Herald Sun claim followed a radio interview on 3AW the previous day, in which Tom Elliott had told listeners in no uncertain terms,
the Hamas flag being openly displayed at pro-Palestine, anti-Israel rallies in Melbourne.
This, in turn, was based on a photo sent to Elliott by anti-Semitism campaigner Dr. Dvir Abramovich, who said the picture had been taken at Melbourne's Fitzroy Gardens the previous day and that it showed
something very insidious and frightening taking place in our city. And I think it's time to say on your program that anti-Semitism and the celebration and glorification of terrorism have gone mainstream in Melbourne, and that Hamas terrorist supporters have hijacked the public space.
With Abramovich then adding,
this is a declaration of war, Tom. It's not just against the Jewish community, but it's against every Australian.
Now that is quite a claim, and you want to be sure you've got it right. So, was it a Hamas flag or something else? We sent the photo that 3AW and the Herald Sun based their story on to 8 Arabic speakers who all studied the script on the flag and who were unanimous in saying,
No, it is not a Hamas flag. Not a Hamas flag. Not a Hamas flag.
With Denis Saviliev, a lecturer in Islam at Melbourne School of Theology, telling Media Watch,
There are two words that are clearly visible, Al-Shahid, the martyr, and Hussein. So it is a Shia flag, similar to the ones that are usually used during the Ashura processions.
The Ashura being a holy day of commemoration for Shia Muslims. And guess what was happening in the same place and same time the flag photo was taken? Yes, the 11th annual Ashura procession. And it was hard to miss, with up to 10,000 Muslims taking part in what police confirm was a peaceful event, and where similar green flags with white Arabic writing can be seen. With Khurram Mehdi, one of the organisers of the Ashura procession, telling Media Watch that none was a Hamas flag, and the declaration of war claim, which the Herald Sun made so much of, was
ridiculous, upsetting, and a clear indication of racism or discrimination being present in the mainstream media.
While the Islamic Council of Victoria went further, calling the coverage
scaremongering Islamophobic nonsense.
We asked the Herald Sun what checks it did on the flag photo and if it would be taking the story down. Amazingly, the paper told us it was not its editorial responsibility, saying,
The photo and quotes appear to be from 3AW. Their station manager is...
Wow, is the media now that irresponsible? Or just the Herald Sun? So, what did 3AW have to say about its divisive false flag story? Remarkably, Nine declined to comment or apologise for its mistake, but it has now taken down its story and the interview from the 3AW website. We also asked Dr. Abramovich what checks he made before sending the photo to the media, and if he concedes he got it wrong. He did not respond to our call or email, and that is pretty poor. Dr. Abramovich, 3AW and the Herald Sun need to fess up to their mistake and apologise for spreading fake news. But now, let's stay with Melbourne Radio and go to a northern invasion of the FM market, which has the barbarians at the gate.
I'm a fuel-guzzling, ex-F-boy sniffing asshole.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and it takes me ages to connect dots.
Yes, that was Kyle and Jackie O launching their top-rating Sydney show to the Victorian capital in April, with a surprising amount of support from the media.
This is the Kyle and Jackie O Show. Morning, everyone.
Big and bold, outrageously crude and crass.
He is loud, he's brash, and he's trying to dominate the country's radio ratings with his unique broadcasting style.
Unique broadcasting style, is that what they call it? And the papers were loving them too, with Kyle and Jackie O having re-signed with the network for a reported $10 million a year each, telling the Herald Sun they would be the #1 breakfast show in Melbourne by the end of the year. And stamping his approval when D-Day arrived was Australia's Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, you're on, Kyle and Jackie, and also Sunrise. Good morning.
Good morning. How you going, everyone?
With a moment to reminisce about Kyle's lavish wedding last year, which Albanese also turned out for.
A fantastic occasion.
Meanwhile, the project was running a snap poll on the streets of Melbourne.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, Kyle's funny.
They kind of teeter on the edge of going too far.
They are super opinionated, very jarring. I don't think it's probably going to gel well with the Melbourne vibe.
So, 3 months on, what are Kyle and Jackie O, who are still broadcasting from Sydney, serving up to Australia's cultural capital? Well, let's start with one of their producers going on a date with an OnlyFans model and talking up the hot sex on air.
Finger and tongue was the advice that she gave me.
Excellent advice. How long do you think you were down there for?
Long enough to make her finish.
Stop it! Lockie, are you joking?
We've also had Kyle forcing Jackie to watch virtual reality porn.
Too much! Hang on, Jackie, relax.
Oh, Kyle,
just
she
breathe.
just is straight into
Yeah,
it.
that's right. She's already on you.
And there's also the regular naked dating segment where participants strip off and face probing questions from Kyle.
You prefer a bigger penis? What do you think of the nipple colour? You like that? Now get your flange out. Let's have a look. I can't see her vagina.
You can't see it?
Would you describe to everyone, if it's a good kiss, you'll grab him on the old mate, or what?
Yes, nothing is off limits, with Kyle saying last Monday...
Because nothing ends romance like smelling your partner's anus canal.
Kyle, of course, has built his multi-million-dollar career on shit like this. He's abusive, foul-mouthed and obnoxious, and doesn't care how often the media regulator breaches him for decency standards, which has happened 5 times. But in taking the Sydney show to Melbourne, Kyle's broken another cardinal rule of radio to keep it local, with Matt Shervington asking him back in April...
Have you made it Melbourne-centric this morning?
No, it's the same shit. I mean, sorry.
So, Melbourne, have you been listening? Answer, no, with the show recording a meagre 5.9% share of the audience in the latest survey, leaving Kyle and Jackie O in 8th spot in their time slot. In April, former radio executive Craig Bruce, who was Kyle and Jackie O's boss for years, was confident the duo would take Melbourne by storm, telling the project...
There's no way in the world this won't work. There'll be plenty of people that will hear the show and will absolutely love it.
But after tuning in lately, he's not so sure, saying on his Game Changers podcast...
There's just nothing that I hear on the show at the moment that would suggest they're thinking about Melbourne in any way, shape and form.
With one former Nova executive adding...
They started by pushing the envelope, and now what Kyle does is make the envelope, stick a dildo in it, lick the envelope and send it express post to Glenda and Glen Waverley, and that's not going to work.
Another critic is Jeff Field, who is one of Kyle's former newsreaders and the butt of his on-air jokes for years, who said last week...
All I can say is that I'm glad I'm not on the show anymore. It's grubby and has sunk to the bottom of a very deep barrel.
Not that any of this criticism will bother Sandilands. And the content boss at ARN, which owns KISS, is telling Mumbrella he is not nervous either.
I think that the real heartland of Melbourne listening is in the suburbs, as it is in Sydney. So it's just going to take a little bit of time to bed in.
Or not. The next radio ratings are due at the end of the month, and we'll see if Kyle's ugly mouth and incessant sexual commentary...
You've got the crotchless panties on and you're diddling yourself...
...appeals to Melbourne listeners or shows Australians that the cultural capital really is down south. That's all from us for tonight. You can read statements from our Arabic experts on our website. Don't forget Media Bites on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. But for now, until next week, goodbye.